Well, welcome back to the homestead. In our last episode, we were working on this platform for the back steps and the ramp, and we had ran out of decking material before I finished it. So I've come back since then, and I've finished putting the decking material down, and we only have one of the two posts for the handrails on the back steps. So I've gotten the post put in for the other side of the handrails, and now we're ready to go ahead and dismantle these temporary steps that I have over here and move them over to this location for a permanent use. So let's go ahead and get started on doing that. All right, so now that I have the old steps taken apart, the next thing I need to do is figure out how tall to cut my stringers down. So I just took a level and put out across here. The steps are going to start right here, so I measure from the bottom of the level down, and we've got 27 inches. So I need to get my stringers cut for a 27-inch change in elevation. But the platform here is going to be the first step, and then the stringers will be 6.5 inches below that because the stringers are cut for a 6.5-inch rise. So I need to take the first step out of that 27 inches, and that'll be the distance that we cut the stringers to. So 6.5 inches down for the rise, plus 1.5 inches for the top tread on the steps, and that gives me a measurement of 8 inches. So I'll take the 8 off of the 27, and we'll cut the stringers down to 19 inches. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so one problem with trying to cut these stringers down with the measurement that I have is I need to go 19 inches from the top of the stringer here. I need to measure 19 inches down to cut it off. But down here where I need to make the cut, there's nothing to hook the tape measure on. So all I'm doing is I'm putting a T-square on the back of the tread here, and that should be fairly close to square. But then I'm coming out on the tread and I'm measuring to make sure that I've got the same distance on both ends of the tread. And once you make that line up, you should have a pretty good distance there. So the bottom of this T-square is 16 inches from the top of that. So then you can just measure an additional 3 inches down, make your mark and cut. So I've already gone ahead and done that on one of the stringers and tested it, and it's good. So we're just going to use that stringer to mark the other two and get those cut. Alright, so now that we have the stairs disassembled and treads cut down to the right height, I've gone ahead and measured from the top of the platform here down 8 inches. So that's where the top of the first stringer should be. Let's go ahead and get that attached in and see if we can level it up. Alright, so that's the first stringer just temporarily attached and level. Let's go ahead and see if we can get all of them in, and once everything's in and level, we'll securely attach all of them. Alright, so now that we have our two outside stringers partially attached and they're nice and level, what I'm going to do is go ahead and drill a lag bolt into the bottom of each of these stringers into this post and use that to carry the weight so that the bottom of this tread doesn't have to be sitting in the dirt. And in addition to that, we'll use some 3-inch deck screws also. So let's go ahead and attach it, and then we'll work on doing the tops. Alright, so now that I've got the two outside stringers in, the next thing I want to do is right in the middle, I want to dig a level spot out to put this concrete pad, and the middle stringer will come down and rest on it. So what I'll do, I'll dig down and get this leveled up, and then we'll measure from the pad to the top of the first tread, and whatever that distance is, we'll cut the last stringer to that so that we know it'll rest solid on this pad. So let's go ahead and get that done. Alright, so now that I've got the concrete pad set and the stringer trimmed down to the right height, I've marked the center of the space between the two outside stringers. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and set the middle step on here, and that'll just help me make sure that I've got the height of this set perfect all the way down, and then we'll put the middle stringer in. Alright, so it's on the line in the back, it's touching all the way across the middle step, and we're down on the pad in the front. So I think we're ready to go ahead and attach that stringer. Alright, so now that we have the center stringer in place, it's time to go ahead and start setting treads. Alright, so now that my treads are attached, the set of steps is finished. And the only thing left to do over here would be the handrails and cutting the post off, which I'm going to save that until the very end. So the next thing I need to start looking at is the access ramp that I'm going to put over on the other side. So let's go over there and take a look at that. So now that my steps are done, over on this other side of the platform, I want to build a wheelchair accessible ramp. So that's going to come out about 15 feet. So what I'll need to do is build a small concrete pad 15 feet out for the ends of the boards to rest on. And I'll also need to set a post out at that length so that I have something to attach the handrail to. So let's go ahead and see if we can get started on doing that. Well, unfortunately, I had a little trouble with my camera and I lost the footage of me building this little concrete pad here. But it's just a 4 foot by 4 foot pad. It's about 4 inches thick. I used 2x4s to frame it up. I just leveled those 2x4s across the top. I cut some wire mesh to go in the center of it, and I used some rocks I had laying around that I dug out of the area where I'm putting the concrete. I used that to space the wire mesh up off of the ground so it'd be in the middle of the concrete. Pour the concrete in, and then just took a 2x4 and laid across the top of the 2x4 forms, and you just saw it back and forth and slowly move it forward. It scrapes all of the excess concrete off the edge of the form, and it also gives you a nice smooth level finish on your concrete. So now that that's done and the pad's dried, the next time I'm out here we'll be able to go ahead and start cutting the stringers and get our ramp built. So till next time, y'all keep checking back.